Hello, everybody, and welcome back to episode number 52 in our Oxygen Not Included Redux series. I have been doing some things to try to get us back to a state of equilibrium where everything is just working okay, and honestly, it hasn't been going well. I'm going to show you some of the things I've done, some of the things that are now problems that we need to focus on, and we'll come up with a plan on how to fix it. First off, we had this area where this coolant was overheated and it was heating up the whole base. So to fix that, I put in this insulated tile around it so that the heat couldn't just dissipate out. I kind of contained it. I added in a supercoolant loop from this dedicated steam chamber that is just cooling that, and it has been working to get the heat under control. So that's a good thing. This area is now back to manageable. We do have some heat escaping, but it's not enough to cause damage, and I've replaced some of the components in here with like steel components instead of copper where I needed to, so that things are working. So this is okay right now. We can handle this. It's not causing any problems. We've gotten rid of the liquid uranium that was there and all that problems that we were having. The next thing we were working on was our issues on Gorgani with our gases. I've done a lot here. We'll focus first on this area. I've encased this area so that we're capturing all the carbon dioxide in here. This vents over to here. I'll probably do some more work on it to make it a little more efficient, but now this is running full bore. We're burning off lumber to make ethanol. Clearly not enough. We'll have to up it because we're out of ethanol, but that ethanol is then getting burnt by our petroleum generators, which are creating polluted water and sending that to our system. We're going to have to up this and increase our lumber production, but it's not a priority. This is not our primary source of power. We're just trying to get it to be running full bore to get the water from it. But for now it's contained, because what it was set up before, the gas from this was just getting vented into the room, which is fine. It's not a big deal, but we don't want that. So now the gases from here are pumped out and they run down to this system. We'll get to that in a second because I want to show you this area first. In here, we've done a bunch of things, and I don't remember which ones we did show you in the last one or not. This may all be new, but what I did is I added in an oxygen filtration system for our base, so that the idea is that the base will only have oxygen in it, and it'll be a nice safe haven. So let's show what we're doing. So we have oxygen that comes in from the main colony. It feeds into these atmosuit docks so that we always have oxygen for our duplicates to go do their work. And then it goes up here, it goes into this pipe, which is a priority pipe. The oxygen from the main colony is actually the third priority, but it's there to make sure that we have a constant flow of oxygen into the base, which vents out here and fills this room with a nice level of oxygen. The base has airflow tiles everywhere so that oxygen can get everywhere it needs to go. Down here we have a gas system where these pumps run when anything other than oxygen is detected. So when the carbon dioxide gets down here and it pumps out, it goes through this filter. Anything that is oxygen gets pumped back into the base, and anything else, carbon dioxide, comes down here. Then I have a stacking filter here that makes it so that it only lets the carbon dioxide that is getting pulled out go through this pipe when we have a full stack. Up here, we have a pump here that is pumping gas from outside the base right now. It is running it through a filter. Any oxygen is coming up here. Anything polluted oxygen is going down this way. It also hits a stacker, which stacks it through. And so the priority is we're getting oxygen that is out here in this area going in. After that, we take the oxygen that's already in the base, and then we take oxygen from the main colony. So basically, this is keeping the oxygen cycling but filtering out anything that is not oxygen. This is pulling in oxygen from outside to fill the room back up. And once this is not providing enough oxygen, this is our makeup to make it so we have a full stack of oxygen to keep oxygen in the base. All the other pipes, the carbon dioxide and the polluted oxygen, come down here. We have some systems that use stackers for stacking carbon dioxide. So just to show exactly what I mean by that, this is set up so that small bits of carbon dioxide come out of this pump. They come here, they hit this bridge, and they jump across, and they go into this pipe where they hit the shutoff. The shutoff by default is turned off. The carbon dioxide builds up here till this tile is full, then this tile's full, and then this tile's full. So we have 3 full tiles of carbon dioxide. Once that happens, it allows the carbon dioxide to go past to get to here to try to jump across, which sets off our gas pipe element sensor, which jumps across and turns the shutoff back to on, allowing those 3 packets of carbon dioxide to go through. Does 2 things. One, it makes it so we don't have these little bits going through the pipe, blocking the pipe when I'm trying to put other gases into it. And it sends it so that there's like 3 packets at a time. So never will a packet less than 1 kilogram of carbon dioxide make it into this pipe. And when I send 1, it's always at least 3. So that means I can keep the pipe coming in packets. So I don't know if we're close enough that you'll be able to see what I mean in actual demonstration. This pipe only has 600, so it'll take a minute for that to fill up. But I have the same thing up here, where this one is set for polluted oxygen, because right now that's all I have coming through here. If we start having mixed gases in there, we might need to change it. But for now, this is working great. And you can see what actually happens is we get 4. I said 3, I meant 4. 4 full packets all at once, so they flow through, which means that we don't have to worry about a small packet or intermittent gases coming through. So these full packs come through. Down here, we have gas priority systems to make it so that all the gases come in here at a priority. So working from the back, the last priority is this pipe, which comes from our power system. Because this system, we can keep pumping gas in there forever and it's not going to break anything. So I'm only sending that gas out to the main colony to be sorted when there's nothing else to deal with. So right now it's just sitting there in the pipe. Eventually it'll go through when we have space for it. Second priority is these 2 pumps here, which are pumping carbon dioxide out of the bottom of the base and running into here. And then thirdly is this pipe that comes from the top right of the area. So when there's no gas coming in from this pipe, it allows this to go through. And if both of these empty out and there's no gas coming in, this will get emptied. And you see it does go sometimes if I have a packet from one of these that is not quite full, this tops it off. And so our carbon dioxide packets are full. That's all we ever see. Now that's all just to kind of get our gases under control. I haven't quite decided the end game because it's going to take a while to get all this carbon dioxide out, but if we're pumping the oxygen out and the carbon dioxide out, I think we want to have oxygen in here. I'll have to set it up so that we can fill the room with oxygen. We'll see. We'll get to that. But that is the problems that we had are now solved or being solved. The issue is while we were working on that, we had some other major problems happen. Here on the main colony, this all broke. I needed to redesign this anyway, but when the magma filled back up again, it filled up too much, caused problems in here where it blocked everything, and then it allowed the heat to transfer, causing the petroleum inside the pipes to boil, turn into sour gas. It's pretty self-contained, which means I can fix it, but is definitely a problem. So I broke in here just to get in and remove these parts that are broken so that we don't have duplicates trying to fix them, because we kept having them come in to try to fix a couple of things. We're going to leave it like this for now. We'll come back to this and we'll get to it. For now, I turned this petroleum generator back on so that we could keep supplying petroleum to our generators, and our water generator still going on. This is not a long-term solution because we're very quickly running out of heat. So I definitely do need to get to that, but I want to work on getting everything else safe and going on before we move on to this. Worst case scenario, if we run out of heat here, we will have, the only real issue we'll have is that we don't have a water boiler if this one stops working, and we're dependent on that now because that's how we get our water. But we can fix some problems with that, and we can handle it if and when that happens. But for now, I want to focus on the major issues. So Gorgani's going well. It's clearing out gases. I do want to work on the new food system that I want to put in here. And our main colony is working safely, but there's a lot of things I want to change. I guess really the priority, now that we've looked at it, is getting this boiler working, because once this heat runs out in the bottom of our map and we don't have any more heat to do our boiling down here, we're going to be in some serious trouble, because we'll run out of water coming, we'll run out of petroleum for our power. And so we need to come up with a system for here. So I'm going to work on first setting this up to fix the problems that we have, and then I'm going to work on a new redesign here, which is going to take a while, but it's going to be worth it. That's going to have to be our priority, because we need that boiler working. The very first step we have to deal with in this area is controlling the heat. And so what I did is I built some obsidian ladders to get up in here, and I cut the power to the robo miner that was here, and then I deconstructed it because I don't want to have the robo miner accidentally breaking things while we're still getting this magma sealed back up. After that, I am putting an obsidian ladder here. I'm leaving this tile of igneous rock. Our dupes will be able to get down there and put this tile in. That will seal up our magma so we have some safe space. The next thing we need to do is deal with the sour gas. Thankfully, we had sealed this up and it's temperature locked. So like this hot temperature is contained inside here. What we need to do is get this sour gas out of here, because it is a problem and we want this to be emptied. So what I'm going to do, I have a storage up here that's empty that I'm getting prepped for the sour gas. I had some stuff in here that is not temperature safe for sour gas because this was built prior to me having the technology to do it. So I'm removing these gas pumps. Once I put the sour gas in here, I'm not even going to move it out. So I'm not even going to worry about putting them back. But what I do want to do, if I look at let's look at just the automation. These are lead wires. They're just going to melt if I dump the sour gas in there. The sensor is steel, so that's okay. So let's deconstruct the automation wires. Look at our power grid. So I want to have steel wires in here. So that'll have to be changed to steel. Who's getting scalded? Okay, good. He's leaving. I knew that was going to be a problem, but okay, so that's good. We have the magma is now contained, so we can slowly start working on that. These pipes are mafic rock. Mafic rock is good up until 1400 degrees. The gas we're putting in is 900, so we'll be fine. So the next step we want to do is just get some gas pumps in here. I'm just going to put them down at the bottom because then they'll be easy to build. We're going to run some, we'll use some ceramic because I have it. We're going to run a pipe. Yeah, they'll be able to reach that up like this. This pipe here currently goes to where? That is a natural gas line. This is a temporary thing, and so I think I can utilize that temporarily. So let's cut that. Let's run here. This line jumps across, goes like that. And then I can cut it here and connect it. Okay, so that's good. So that'll allow me to pump it in. So now I just need to get power to these gas pumps. And I can just come straight across from here. Okay, so once we get all that built, we'll start pumping sour gas. I'll come back once we have all the sour gas under control. I've run into my next problem, and that is that this gas is so hot that with the best technology I have, I can do steel gas pumps, and they will instantly overheat because this gas is almost 1,000 degrees and steel overheats at 225, I think. So I had those pumps in here. As soon as they got built, they were broken. So then my next immediate thought was that I could run a coolant loop in here to cool down the sour gas to get it manageable. But as I'm getting ready to finish this, I realized currently I have polluted water running through this coolant loop. Polluted water, let's see, can I bring it up from here? Polluted water boils at like 110 degrees. It's going to hit this pipe and immediately flash into steam. Even if I switch it out for supercoolant turns into a gas at 436 degrees. We're going to get gas version of supercoolant in here if we try to put it through this pipe. So this is my thought. I'm hoping that it will work. I'm going to put a gold tile along this pipe. Gold tile should be okay because it has a melting point of 1,063. I don't have any more heat coming in, so this is where we're at. We're below that. It should be fine. Hopefully this pipe with the radiant pipe in it will start cooling the metal tile down pretty quickly, and then the metal tile will transfer heat into sour gas to cool it down to a manageable level. It's the only thing I can think to do with the technology I have. Later on, I'll be able to make things like, thermium gas pumps and be able to handle temperatures like this, but I don't have that yet. So this is what we're going to try to do, and we're going to see if it works. And if it doesn't, then we'll come up with a plan B. So dealing with this high of a heat, I'm still going to have issues with the heat building up in this polluted water. So let me kind of explain what I'm doing here in my thinking, and we'll see if it works. I have the polluted water coming in here. It's at 9 degrees. So I set up this line so that there's a bypass. So it's pulling water out to go into this line and then putting it back in up here. I put in a valve, which is going to allow me to control the flow rate, which I set really small to begin. I just need to build that one last pipe and it'll start flowing. At that small of an amount going in here and going into the metal tiles, I think that it will not pick up enough heat that it will boil. And then the heat that it does pick up will be such a small amount compared to the rest of the coolant in here that it's not going to have a huge effect. Now, the downside to that is that it's also not going to have a huge effect on cooling down the sour gas. But this is just to get it so that we have a system that will work where it's not breaking. Once I can see that, I can figure out how much more I can increase it. We can slowly throttle up the liquid flow so that we can get it to a point where we are taking on just enough heat that we are cooling it down as fast as we can, but not breaking our system. So let's see what happens as this fluid comes in. So it's coming through 100 grams per second at basically 10 degrees. Let's let it flow through for a little while. because it's so small, even though it's picking up a huge amount of heat, it's not going to cause any issues. And then since this is a high priority, and this is the second priority, we're going to be taking this and adding it to the water flowing here. And so this will continue to flow, so it won't sit there and build up heat. And this heat, even at that 100 grams per second, we went from an input here that is 24 degrees. And why is this 9 if this is 24? That's odd. I wonder if it was just because I hit a cold spot, but whatever. We go from 24 degrees all the way to 32 just by putting that small amount in. But it's not breaking, which is what I wanted to see. We can handle that increase in temperature through the system. It'll cool itself back down. Let's see the effect that it's having on the sour gas, if any. It's actually cooling it down a little bit. It was 900 degrees, and now it's at 880. I think I'm going to let this run for a little while just to see the effect it has and make sure it doesn't break anything in our system. And then I might try throttling it up a little higher, because I can go a decent amount higher. I just can't get to the point where this water is going to hit the 120 degree mark. So my system here has been working. You can see the sour gas is down into the 400 and 500s. The problem is that it is heating up the rest of my base because it's pulling that heat out, and it wasn't able to cool it down enough. I thought that might be what happened, so it's okay. I disconnected it because I want to get this cooled back down. So I disconnected here, I disconnected there. So this will cool back down pretty quick, I think. Because we don't have a heat source coming in anymore. So this will run through and pick up all the heat and run into our coolant system and be fine. Where's our cooler? It goes down here to this aqua tuner. Got it. Okay. So that'll that'll chill everything down pretty quick, I think. So what we're doing to get this to work going forward is I'm connecting this system. We're going to use this for our water boiler later, but I wanted to finish building it now so that I can start running the supercoolant for it to cool off this. And I built most of it. I'm waiting for the rest to get built, but I ran into a problem where I am out of steel because I am out of iron ore. So my solution for that is over here on Gorgani. I have an iron volcano. I am building pretty much a mirror image of this, where we can produce iron, and then we'll be able to use that iron to make steel. I haven't decided yet if I'm going to transport this iron back over to the main colony because I already have the steel production there, or if I'm going to build steel production here. I probably will just transport it across because it'll be easiest. But the first thing we got to do is just get this set up. We're going to get all the gases pulled out of here so that we can get things going. I'm running a water line over to bring water to fill this up to prime it for our steam. And then as this produces iron, it will produce steam, which will get cooled down by the turbine and drop back in and just repeat. So only thing left I have to do to make this work is connect this power somewhere just so that it has somewhere to go and seal the room up after we get everything put in place. So once that's done, I'll have iron going, which means I can get steel production going again, and we will be ready to go. So I have finished our coolant system here. This thing is a beast. It's got 6 aqua tuners in it, which means I can send in coolant that starts here. It'll go through and it will check 6 times if it's at the right temperature. And each one drops it by 14 degrees, which means we can change the state of the temperature of this fluid down 84 degrees to get it to the temperature we want. I have it set at 10 degrees. So right now this is a 33, which means it's going to come through. It'll hit this. It'll say, yes, it's too hot. It'll drop it by 14 degrees. It goes down to like 19, 18 and change. Comes through, it says, yes, it's too hot. It cools it down to 4. And then it skips the rest because the temperature is not high enough to turn on the aqua tuner. If I were to send a 100 degree fluid through, it would go through, drop it down to 86, and then drop it down to 72, and then drop it down to 58, and then drop it down to 44, 30, and down to 16. So we can throw a lot of heat at it. So because I got this sour gas down to a cool enough temperature that the supercoolant can handle it, I set this to flow at full speed, and I took apart this system up here that was designed to do the flow regulation. I can cancel that build and I can deconstruct all of that because that isn't needed anymore. We're just flowing through at full speed. It's coming in here at 3 degrees. It's leaving at 53 degrees. It's dropping off and it's cooling itself back down. The temperatures in here are already down into the yellows, which is great. It's cooling super fast now. And pretty soon we're going to hit the point where we're under 200. In fact, we're pretty much there. So let me grab gas pumps. Oop, I'm actually out of steel still. So let's check in on Gorgani, see where we're at for the steel. So we're waiting on iron. This is all built and ready to go, but we have 13 more cycles before we'll have any iron production from here. And I don't have any more iron here. The only thing I could do, if I wanted to, was salvage some steel from some other places so that I have it, but I don't think it's necessary. What I think I'm going to do is I'm going to let this run for 13 more cycles. It will cool all this sour gas off, and then by then I'll be able to make some more steel, throw in a couple of steel gas pumps, and get all this sour gas pulled out, so that we can have pretty much a clean slate here to start building our new boiler system, and we'll make another go at it. First thing I need to do, like I said, is figure out how we're going to handle the magma so that it just keeps flowing, so that we can use it efficiently to heat both of our boilers. But I think I'm going to let that go because I have to wait for so many cycles. I think I'm just going to call the episode here today, and we will come back next time with our fresh slate once I've gotten all the sour gas out of here, and we will start building. Hope you enjoyed watching it, and we'll see you in the next one. Bye-bye.